Greetings, people who really like the accordion. Now, ordinarily, as you probably know, I would use my little old iPhone 4 to make videos, but today I'm going to try for the first time ever my old iMac computer. I have a 2009 iMac, so I'm using that camera thing. So it might be a little shaky, might be a little weird, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Toy Accordion that I got on my birthday. I made two videos, real short videos, to show you this here little toy. Anyway, but I'm coming back with this because there's more here than meets the eye. And let's talk about it a little bit. I know it's just a toy, but on the treble side, okay, you have a treble range. And if you look inside, you'll see reeds, all right? The reeds inside that extend from C4 to E5, and you could technically call that an extended alto range, okay? Because if you saw any of my previous videos, you would have seen my handy reed set chart, and you see the normal alto range for most accordions would be C4 to B4. So the one I just showed you for this little accordion would be just kind of an extended range. It's no big deal. You have your alto tones are all in there, and then they go up a little bit higher. So that's basically it for the treble side. So you have from C4 to E5, and that's the treble side. No big thing. Now the bass side's pretty cool. I wanted to talk about that. If you had a register switch on this side to select your reed set, it would look like this. And I'm sure you've seen these before in accordions. Here's your standard symbol. This would be the alto-tenor reed set, or sometimes they call it soft tenor. I don't really care for the descriptive titles. I like the alphabetical titles, alto-tenor. But this is the symbol you might see on an accordion to designate that reed set, or combination of reed sets. And then over here is the symbol I use. I use this in my videos. And see here you have your tenor reeds in play, and you have your alto reeds in play. This is hard for me to do because I'm not used to this iMac, so please bear with me. So that would be the switch that you would have one here if you had one, but you don't need it, so you don't have one. Now, inside, if you open this up, this is called a Hero Toy Accordion. Inside, here's the tones it would play, the bass tones, when you play any of the buttons on the bass row. Okay, there's 4 buttons on the bass row, and here's the tones you would hear. You would hear alto tones and tenor tones at the same time, simultaneously. You'd hear the alto tones and the tenor tones over here on the bass side. Your F, C, G, D. So for those bass buttons, there's 2 tones sounding. Now for the chord buttons, you'd hear chord tones. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this camera. Chord tones, all right? And we have 4 chord buttons. Your F, C, G, and D. All right, on this accordion, it's a beautiful thing. When you press the chord button for any of the chords, the third, the tone at the interval of a third is missing. Okay? Now these things you see, these tones are not in root position. I mean, they're not in root position as far as pitch is concerned. I'm just showing you the tones so you can clearly see the root, the fifth, and then the thirds. Okay, this is not by pitch. This is only by letters. So you can see that we have an F, the A, the third is missing, and then you have the C, the fifth. And here you have the C, all right? The third is missing, then you have your G. And for your G chord, you have your G root. The B is missing, and you have a D. And over here for the D chord button, you have a D root, and then you have the fifth, which is the A, but the F sharp is missing. So on these chord buttons, this is a beautiful thing. Oh, I'm losing my, I don't know what happened. On this thing here, the thirds are not sounding because they're not there. So what that means is, let's say you have a C bass and a C chord, and you play them together. Let me just go like this. Let me just move this camera a little bit, all right? So you have a C chord here, but the third's missing. So that means over here, you can play a C major, because the third's missing here, okay? It won't conflict with the treble side. Or you can play a C minor. Same with the F. You can play an F major or an F minor. Now the idea of, I'm going to move it back. I have to get used to this. It's kind of weird. So the idea of disabling the third in the bass machine is used by quite a few accordion manufacturers. And here's a company, for example, called Treble. And these are accordions made in France. And they're very, very expensive. They cost thousands of dollars. They're very expensive, extremely high quality. But they have a thing, a switch, a lever on their accordions called a stop, S-T-O-P. And that when that stop is used, engaged, the thirds in the chord button row will be disabled on their accordions. And believe me, their accordions are a far cry from this toy. This is just a toy. But I wanted to tell you that because there's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of stuff that people normally don't see. And like I said, if you had a switch for the bass machine, you would see this, but we don't need it. All right. And then if you wanted to know what the bass tones were and the chord tones, if you have one of these, if you have this exact accordion, or maybe in a different color, all right, here's the tones that are sounding when you hit a bass button, and here's the tones that are sounding when you hit a chord button. So if you have one of these little beauties, then you know what's going on. And that's about it. I'll come back tomorrow, and I'd like to talk about the treble range and the possibilities for the treble side. Okay? So thanks for being patient. We'll see how this video comes out with this new setup. Thank you and good night.